and welcome to Thursdays with Annette. I've decided to pre-record this week's show because as you're watching this, I'm actually in Hong Kong at a food and drink expo. And I was a little worried on the Wi-Fi over there, so we decided to, so you didn't miss a show, we would pre-record it. And so what I've got for you today, obviously, hello, I've got my apron on, so that means I'm in the kitchen. And I'm baking for you today, so I've got lots of fabulous tips for you. And I got the idea of doing this because a lovely lady made a comment to me, which I'm loving. Please tell me what you want on the show, or share an idea. I love it. Well, Avril Baker, she just said to me, I have so much trouble making the cakes and the muffins in there. And I thought, great. Let me show you and all the other thousands of people that maybe do have a little bit of trouble with the baking. Because it's so low in fat, you have to be a little careful with it. But I have changed the baking recipes a little bit in the new updated versions. So I'm going to share a little bit about that with you. Now, for those that were the lucky winners from last week's show, because we're talking about breakfast, 3 lucky winners have won a packet each of the breakfast shakes. Now, because we're not doing it live, thank you Diane, we're going to actually write the names down the bottom in the comments so you can see if you're a winner from last week's show. Now, this week I'm cooking out of my fabulous Simply Too Good to Be True number 2 cookbook, and I'm making for you my deliciously amazing blueberry flapjacks. What am I saying, blueberry flapjacks? Blueberry and banana muffins. Actually, if you do like blueberry flapjacks, that's book 3. Anyway, so this would be a great recipe to cook for Mother's Day. Now, you can make them up ahead and freeze them, so that's fabulous. But what a great thing to rock up to see Mum or Nan or Gran with some freshly baked homemade muffins. And that's the key here. When you're making homemade, you actually know what's in the recipe. If you're buying pre-bought muffins, they are so high in fat and massive amounts of sugar. And even, like the typical muffin recipes, they were easy to make because they were just packed with butter or oil for some of them as well. And mine, of course, are that low-fat, fabulous design. So now, what we're going to start with is my traditional prepping my bench. Now, what I start with, if you've watched the show before, you'll know this already, but I get my rubbish bin ready. So I have a bowl and a plastic bag, and I have it like this, ready for all the rubbish. So as I'm going, I can just throw it in on the bench, saving him to go to the bin back and forwards 100 times. So that's ready to go. Now the other thing, of course, is over my sink. I've got my lovely bubbles ready to go, my hot water. And normally as I'm cooking, I wash as I go because I really don't like being left with loads and loads of dishes at the end. Unless someone, of course, wants to do it for me, then I don't care, but that doesn't happen very often. But today I'm just going to stick them over on the side because I'll wash them afterwards when we're done. The third thing that I do specifically for baking is I have my little container with all my ready-to-go goodies. So I've got my wooden spoon, my scraper, forks, measure things, spoons, different types, teaspoons, tablespoons, and my different measure spoons. And as I'm going, I can just quickly grab them out of there, and it just means that the flow is very easy because I'm all about quick. Let's get these muffins in the oven, people, because I've got the kettle on and I'm ready to go. All right, so no more talking with that. Let's get started. Now, the blueberry banana muffins have only 1.5 grams of fat. Now, this is the new version, and I'm going to explain why it's changed a little bit, and the fat can's gone up a little bit as well. Only 137 calories, so this is fabulous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start. Can I just talk about my bowl right now? Okay, get excited, people. Like, I was thinking about cooking for you today. I was super excited, and I thought I need a really nice glass bowl because I've got them, but not as big as this. And I popped into Kmart. God, you've got to love Kmart. And I walked in and there it was. And I went, yes, that's the perfect bowl for what I want to do with the muffins. $3. I know, get yourself one. Or maybe 2, but $3, who cares? Now, what I'm going to start with is prepping up. So I'm going to spray my muffin tin first. I normally go along first to the flat, then I go along the edge and along that edge. I'm sure you have the way you do them, but that's how I do it. So that's one thing ready to go. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is drain the blueberries. And first of all, let's talk about the ingredients, hey? So we'll make sure you've got them. You might want to cook them with me. So you've got your self-raising flour, you've got your white sugar, some bicarb soda, a banana, a couple of eggs, Flora-Lite margarine. This is the new thing I've added now, is the little jar of the baby apple, some skim milk, cooking spray because we've just used it, and the canned blueberries. Now I've been thinking back, let me talk to you about this because I don't know when blueberries came to Australia, because I wrote this book in 1999 and I don't think we could get fresh blueberries, hence why I was using the can. Can someone research that for me? I need to know. Anyway, so why I use the can though is, one, it's in the pantry. I can make blueberry muffins anytime I like because I've got a can in there. Two, they are cheaper often than buying frozen or fresh. Now I'm draining this, and actually I'll tell you what I do normally is I just pour most of the liquid, so that way, see how it's sitting up from the juice, and I'm just going to put that in my bin. The thing that I like about canned blueberries is that they're plump, they're sweet, and they go so well in baking. Fresh blueberries are about $9 a pound at the moment, so you can forget that, but I really don't know whether you get sweet blueberries all the time, so I'm not going to risk it. I never use fresh in baking. You can use frozen, but I've found as well some blueberries are huge. You know, the frozen ones, they're really big, and I don't think they'll work well in a muffin. So basically, I've just stuck with what works for me since 1999, and I use the canned blueberries. Now I'm going to mash up, I'll mash up some banana. Now you want a half a cup of banana. Now, if you can get the banana as ripe as you can, that's a really good thing to do, because that way it'll really help sweeten the muffins up. I always find this is the type of recipe I'll make when I'm getting, you know, really sad looking bananas. So you can make the banana muffins. There's several recipes that I use bananas with. My banana chocolate cake is phenomenal in book 6. Love that. Banana loaf in book 1. You know, just make sure that they're fairly ripe. If you're a diabetic though, I'd suggest you go for less ripe. Is that the right way to say it? Like if you've got little brown spots on it, it's too ripe for a diabetic because it's a lot of extra sugar. But if you don't have to worry about diabetes, then just go with the ripe one. And as I say, if you've got any rotten ones going, what a fabulous idea to use up your muffins. I even do banana pikelets. All right, so that's looking pretty mashed. I want half a cup. I've probably got a little bit too much in here, but let's have a look. Oh no, that's perfect. Awesome. Right, we'll just chuck this in the sink. So we've got our blueberries ready. So I like to prep, okay? And you'll see why, because it makes it all so easy. So I've got my blueberries ready, the bananas ready. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to melt the margarine. Now I'm going to show you a tip here, but I should, before I get into the tip, a few of you are going, excuse me, Annette, what are you doing? Because if you've got the old book too, there's no margarine in this one. And what it is I found that when I reviewed all the recipes, which I did last year when I was updating my gorgeous books, I know, like April said, you know, they can be a little bit tough. I can do it perfect, but if you're a bit heavy with the beating, it can mean that you get rubbery muffins. So I went in and experimented, and I found that I just have to add 30 grams or 2 tablespoons of Flora-Lite margarine to the mixes. Fabulous. You will not have a problem anymore. So I like that. And it's only 1.5 grams of fat for a muffin now. So I mean, awesome. Gosh knows what they'd be when you go to somewhere like the Muffin Break or something like that, probably 15, 20 grams. So I always use a glass measure cup when I'm using the microwave because my plastic ones get a bit brittle from that. Now this is, you know, as I said, 2 tablespoons or 30 grams of Flora. I always measure it. So I put my little cup on onto it to bring it to 0, and then I just work out 30 grams. Just measure it like that. Oh, that's too much. Perfect. So now I'm ready to go with my margarine. Super easy. Into the microwave for 20 seconds on mine. It's a fairly, strong microwave. And I've got everything organised now. How good is that? So now I'm going to start making the muffins. We'll start with egg whites, 2 egg whites. Now a lot of people say to me, why can't I chuck the yolk in? And I go, well, Dal, you're talking maybe 12 grams of fat, 13 grams of fat, I've saved straight up by not putting the yolk in. And have you ever eaten a cake or a muffin and think, gee, I love the egg yolk in that, it tastes really good. No, you don't even know it. So this is how I do it. I'm going to put in some white sugar. Now because the banana and the blueberries are going to really give it some lovely sweetness, I only need 1/4 cup. So that's going to make it a lot less carbs with the white sugar. But it is a baking thing. You're going to want it to be sweet. That's why you're having it. Now you can freeze them as well, and so great for putting in the kids' lunch boxes or taking to work as a morning or afternoon tea. So we're going to beat this now on high for 1 minute. So that's the sugar and the egg white. Look at my bowl. $3. Yes. Just beating for 1 minute. Awesome. All right, now I'm going to get my marge. A lot of people say to me, is it all right to melt Floralite because it says on it you can't? They're only doing that just to cover themselves because, it does separate. You'll see there's water at the bottom, and that's how they make it lighter because they whip it with water. But it'll mix through no problem at all. I've never had a problem with it at all. So don't worry about that. We're going to put in 1/2 cup of skim milk. Now, if you're not good with milk, you could always do the low-fat almond milk or the lactose-free. This is what we're using here, the lactose-free. I'm going to mix this now with the margarine. And that's what I like about it because, you're cooling it down a little bit before it goes in the mix. Pour that into the bowl. I'm so excited. Everyone in the office is so ready for afternoon tea, I've got to tell you. Now I'm going to add in the banana. No, actually I won't. I'll add in the applesauce. Get it right, Annette. Okay, now we're using the applesauce. I'm going to get a little teaspoon. I'm sorry, waste not, want not. Look at this. Get that out of the lid. Chuck that in there. And we're going to put in some bicarb soda. And the reason I put bicarb in, we're going to do 1/2 teaspoon. I discovered this idea. I know, I'm clever. I discovered this back with book 1. And I was trying to make some low-fat baking, and I'm sorry, it was shocking. It was like it stuck to the roof of your gum. It was just, it was terrible. And then I read somewhere where they said, oh, try, fruit juice. And I went, okay. And I went in the cupboard and I couldn't find any fruit juice anywhere. But I had a little thing of apple puree. So I put that in, and I remember to put the bicarb in because I know that lightens things. I did my research, and it's just worked like a treat, and I use it all the time. So let me just show you, beat up the bicarb. Yeah, come in, Bill, on this, because I think see how it's frothing up? That way you know that it's activated. Your bicarb is fresh. If it doesn't froth up, it's probably been in there for 10 years, guys. Buy some new stuff. And at this point, I'll tell you when, oh, I've got it all over myself now. There's your applesauce and mucky fingers. You can't fail at this point. I'll tell you actually when you fail. Wait, no, you'll never fail. But what can be the tricky part? So we put in the egg white sugar. We've done the applesauce with the bicarb. Now we're going to throw in the banana mix to mash up. See how easy it is because it's all done and ready to go? Because I kind of feel like if I have to stop now and mash up the banana, that's a bit of a pain. So mix that in, and now we're going to do 2 cups of self-raising flour. All right, perfect. I'm going to sift it actually. I know the quality of the flour here is pretty good, but I still think it's always good to sift it, and that way it's always going to be a bit lighter. All right, so sift the self-raising. Now I do this in one go, and this is where you can come undone, because if you decide to use the electric beater to do this, you will not only get rocks, they will be just huge boulders of toughness. You only want to use your wooden spoon and just mix that in one go. Now I'm gently folding it through, and this is the big trick, guys. Please, April, I hope you're watching. This is where you can come undone. If you get there and you beat it up because that's what we were taught to do, no. The Annette Sim way is just fold it through, kind of like, you know, you're folding a sponge is probably a good way to look at it. Just get that flour combined with the liquids. And once you see that the flour's mixed in, stop. Like, I think I'm looking good here. Can we have a close-up, Billy? Look, that looks great. See, I mean, I'm even seeing a little bit of white powder, but I mean, that's going to be mixed in. That's how you want it to be. You don't want it to be smooth, because otherwise it'll be tough as buggery, I've got to tell you. All right, so now we're going to put in the drained blueberries. You want a cup, pretty well the can. Come on, you. And now just gently fold. You don't want to break up the blueberries if you can help it. Oh gosh, I love this recipe. Look at that, absolutely perfect. Okay, so I'm going to get my scraper, and we're going to divide this into 12 muffins. Alright, so I'll do it this way so you can see. Okay, so just think about, you know, an average amount in each one. You can always come back and add more once you've done the 12. Just remember, we don't want to move the mixture too much, because otherwise they'll be tough. And actually there is a way you can tell if a muffin mix has been beaten too much. And that's because what happens is it gets like what I call a nose. I mean, I'm sure there's a better description for it, but I call it a nose. And it's often this one that I'm doing right now, where I'm scraping down because I've moved it a lot more than the other ones. All right, so let's have a look and see who needs a little bit more mixture. That one's got a bit too much. Okay, this one looks like it needs it. There we go. Perfect. Now we're going to put them into the oven at 180 degrees. They're going to take about 15 to 20 minutes. So it won't be long before you can put the kettle on. And don't forget to put your timer on. That's the worst thing you can do. I'm going to do 15. I'm going to check it, and if it needs a few more minutes, it's easy to add to it. Now, I actually made some before we started. Where are they? Because I wanted you to see how fabulous they look at the end. So they've been resting for a couple of minutes in the pans, in the thing. So we're just going to put them out. Now, actually, can I just make a note? This was my last one. See how this is sitting really round, and that one's got like a nose on it? That's that one I was talking about, so you can see the difference. It'll still be good to eat, but it just looks a little different. So, how fabulous do these look? Oh my gosh. Perfect for Mother's Day, you know, like super easy. Everyone's going to love them. Now you can win book 2, so you can actually make the recipe yourself. This is what the prize is for this week. 3 lucky winners. All you've got to do is like and then share, and in the comments write done. And I will then pick 3 fabulous people, and you will get a copy signed by me of book 2. Now, next week's show, cannot wait for it. I'll be back home by then. And I'm going to be talking about making yourself, you know, number 1. Like, you know, prioritising you. I mean, as a mum or as a woman in general, we tend to put everyone before ourselves. And it's so important in this busy life that we have that we look after the most important person, and that's you. So I'm really looking forward to next week's topic. Now, I hope you've enjoyed today's show. You know, really, at the end of the day, who knew weight loss could be so deliciously healthy? So if you want more tips and recipes, go to my website, simplytoogood.com.au. You can like me on Facebook, you know, and on Instagram. Is it Instagram? I got it right this time. And that's Simply Too Good. Now, next week, it's going to be a fabulous show. I can't wait for it. Give me your comments of any ideas you have for the show. I'd love to hear them. Thanks for joining me today, and it's time for a cup of tea with the crew. Bye now. See you next week.